ain't no regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This for my city, yeah, this for my team. If you talking, it's all to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm a champion. I'm a team. If you talking, it's all to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, I'm a champion.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is a fantastic Friday right here on YSN Live. DJ Yoakley, Anthony Hartwig with you. Ant, tough skating last night in the Hoops Arena.
Most of it did not go our way. We have one team advancing, but most of it did not go our way.
Yeah, I mean, you hate to say it, it's that time of year, right? Yep. But the excitement around these games, and obviously we had a record-breaking performance last night. Izzy Morrow, the Ice Queen, was it the single season record for rebounds she broke last night, I believe?
Well, see, I wasn't aware that she broke the record, but she did have a lot of rebounds. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I think she broke the single season record for Western Reserve for rebounds. So congratulations to the Ice Queen, Izzy Morrow, on her way out, making it, certainly one whale of a career, as they say. And the Devils coming up short yesterday, the Eagles coming up short yesterday. You got the call on that one. What a season for JFK, by the way. Incredible way to turn around their program.
We documented how they dealt with injury, and to be honest, last night, no excuses, of course, but Gianna Pompilio wasn't even 100%. She tweaked her knee a little bit in practice on Monday, I was told, and she came out in knee brace. Didn't look 100%. Definitely was still good, still able to do a lot of things, especially in the first half. JFK was able to keep it competitive for a while, but eventually Danbury's defense just kind of wore them down, and they started to really make some crucial live ball turnovers that led to fast break buckets. It was a 2-point game after one, and then JFK actually took a 19-16 lead in the first couple minutes of the second quarter. And from 19-16, the rest of the game just went Danbury's way. They ended the half on a 16-5 run, and they had all the momentum out of halftime as well. It just seemed like JFK didn't have the depth to really run with the defensive pressure for Danbury. And honestly, I think Danbury had a couple of guards that were just able to get to the hoop off the dribble pretty easily in the second half against JFK's defense. So that was a tough one for the Eagles. I stayed for the Western Reserve game. We didn't have it sponsored, so I couldn't broadcast it, but I did stay and watch it so I could kind of speak about it. It was a tough start. It was an 18-2 first quarter. From that point on, Western Reserve kind of settled in, and it was a pretty even game. In fact, 26-25 the rest of the way. But when you start a game at that stage like that, it's just going to be a really tough sledding to try to come back. Any team knows that if you're in the regionals and you give up a quarter 18-2, you're in for a tall mountain to climb to try to come back in that. So just unfortunate way to start the game for that Western Reserve team.
So we have the Lady Eagles. Unfortunately, their season comes to a close after a tremendous year. Same thing with Western Reserve. Their season comes to a close after another great year. But you said we did have a little bit of bright and sunny skies.
That sunshine. Archbishop Hoban is going to go into the regional finals. They get the win over Highland, and it was a dominant win. Hoban had a 40 to 15 lead at halftime. It was just there was nothing Highland could do against this night's team. They have a really tough game in the regional finals on Saturday against Brush, the team they played in the first game of the season, and Brush gave them their first loss of the season in that first game. So we'll have to see how much Hoban changed from the first game of the season to now, because they're going to have to exercise those demons against Brush on Saturday if they want to get a chance at the state semifinals.
Where is that game located, Anthony?
It's in Canton. Yeah, they're playing in Canton again, the field house. And I'm told that the state semifinals will also be in Canton. The winner of that game will play at the Canton Memorial Fieldhouse. Dayton is only hosting the state championships for boys and girls basketball, so the state semifinals will still be in neutral sites.
I like that. I like that a lot. I think that's a very good idea, but who am I?
With 7 divisions, it's just really hard for one site to host, what's that, 14
games,
semifinals, and then 7 championships.
21 games.
And in a span of just, 2 days they give Dayton to host that? That's tough. That's tough sledding.
I literally just got off a phone call with someone who, was saying everything should be held in Columbus outside of football. And I have a tendency to agree with that.
Well, there's nowhere to
Only,
hold softball in Columbus. I mean, you go to Ohio
um,
State's softball stadium, I
I've
guess,
never been. Yeah. Okay, why couldn't you do that?
but Firestone holds more people.
Well, it's also
And they-
Babe Ruth played there, so
Mhm.
they have that going for them. And it's
And-
closer to us, which we're not going to complain about that. But
Probably the best place to host the state baseball tournament anyway, too.
you probably,
There's some
then if you play it,
places to host.
I think would be tremendous.
Dayton was a lot cheaper. Ohio State started to really want a lot of money for their
Wait,
back-
the OHSAs, they want money?
yeah, shocker. Their logo is
Incredible.
green, remember?
Incredible. This is breaking news, folks, here on YSN. The OHSA is all about the dollar. You can't spell dollar without OHSAA. We have with us, believe it or not, Anthony, you should believe it because you booked it, a coach who is still kicking, baby. His team, listen, there's a lot of people that jumped off the bandwagon for South Range there for a minute. They're back. They're back, and they are better than ever, and they are playing Norway tomorrow night, 7 p.m. in Cleveland Heights. We will be there, thanks to the good folks at Vantage Financial. At this time, we bring in the YSN All-Star Coach, ladies and gentlemen, Pat Carden. I have to set the tone here, Coach, and tell you I cannot fluff your feathers this time because I'm not getting any fights with any other opposing coaches. So this is going to be all serious. I almost wore a suit today to let you know that this is going to be all
Coach
business
Fish style.
No cowboy hat, apparently.
No cowboy hat, no boots.
That was the line in the sand, the cowboy hat. Coach, congratulations. What an outstanding year you had so far, and obviously still going. For you, it got a little turbulent there for a minute, but you guys were able to fly through it and stay true to who you are as a basketball team. What was going on during those couple games, those 3 games that you're sitting there and you're like, okay, this is not who we are? What conversations were had? Did you say anything at all, I guess? And then, how did you kind of fly throughout that storm?
Yeah, we had to put it behind us. It was a tough last stretch of the NE8 for us. We did a lot of great things in the season and then kind of fell apart there in the final 3 games. So we just had to tell our guys to put it behind them, and credit to them. They did a fantastic job of doing that. I think maybe as coaches, maybe we hyped it up a little bit too much, put a little bit too much pressure on them. And, you could tell definitely in the Niles and the Girard game back to back, we definitely played tight, intense, and, not like ourselves. Like, we're normally out there, we're running, we're playing free, having fun. We weren't doing that for those 2 games.
Coach, we talked to Graham a couple of weeks ago about the style that you guys play and how much he just enjoys playing that loose basketball. And I'm sure all the other players enjoy playing that kind of freestyle where they're able to run and run and gun almost. How much have you seen the players really buy into the style of basketball that you want to play at South Range?
Yeah, they've really bought in. When we came in, I think the season before they averaged about 47, 48 points a game, somewhere in that range. We really talked about how we want to be above 60. Last year we ended right about 59. This year we're up to 63.9 right now. So you could tell that they're definitely buying in, and we give the kids a ton of freedom. And I think you see that throughout the game. They make some crazy plays, some crazy passes. We want them to have fun with it. We want them to play fast, play free. And, they're doing just a fantastic job. And, our defense isn't really lapping too much with that. So that's the other part of it, right? You want to play fast, but you also got to defend. And our defense is kind of what we're hanging our hat on. It's been the best thing for us all year. And when we're right defensively, our offense really gets going. And, we're a tough team.
You mentioned it. Your offense gets going. It's been going, dude. 53 points and a half. 2 weeks ago, something like that. I looked at Tom Titus and I was like, I've never seen South Range do anything like this. Do you even look at the scoreboard anymore? Have you told your guys, don't look at the scoreboard, just keep being yourself? Because it feels like after that Salem game, you have really been the tip of the spear for these guys and really telling them just, a lot more communication out there. Obviously, it's always good when your star player, Luke Rowan, is hitting the shots like he has been. Congratulations to Luke on the 1,000-point threshold there. But man, I'll tell you what, that Salem game, it just felt like you guys came in with the black cowboy hats on, as opposed to the white ones.
Yeah, we really that Salem game, we shot the ball extremely well. That's always going to help. I think we had 14 threes in that game. The Heartland Christian game, we had 13 threes. So anytime you shoot like that, it's just you're going to be a really tough beat. It doesn't matter what your record is. If you're going to put the ball in the hoop that many times from three-point range, you're having a good night. But we're trying to tell our guys to stay focused and really working on correcting us and fixing us and finding ways that we could just fine tune and, gear it up for these final games here coming down the stretch. And, we want to be hitting our stride, playing our best basketball and making sure that we're not slipping up in any way that's, going to get us off that path.
Coach DJ brought up Luke Rowan, and this has been a real transformative year for him. He's always been a good scorer, always been a good shooter, but now, he's really a good on-ball defender. He's worked hard for that. He drives a lot more this year. He's not relying just on the three-pointer to score, and that's something that you guys needed coming into this year because you lost players like Landon Moore, like Dylan Turvey, that were really good at driving the ball to the hoop. Talk about what you've seen from Luke and how much work he put in to really become a full-rounded player for his team when he knew they needed it the most this year.
Yeah, Luke stepped up in a huge way this year. We were expecting a big season from him, and I think he's even kind of surpassed our expectations of what he can do. The way he's driving the ball really adds a different element to his game that makes him extremely hard to guard because now not only can he shoot it, but he can also drive it right past you. And when he's driving, he sees the floor really well. He gets his teammates. He has a fair number of assists too. Then on the defensive end, he's defending, he's rebounding, he's blocking shots. He had 8 blocks in that Heartland Christian game. So that was a record. He broke the single season block record that we have here. So, he's doing a lot of great things offensively and defensively. And he's taking his team to new heights.
You walk into a gym tomorrow, a neutral site against a Norwayne team that only has 2 losses on the season. I mean, when you're looking at tape on them, what are you looking for? What do you feel are your strengths against their weaknesses and vice versa? What do you have to battle against to make sure that they don't expose?
I think a big key for us is going to be handling the basketball. They press for 32 minutes. They have some big, athletic, fast, strong defenders. But so do we. So I think we play a very similar style of basketball as what they do. These are 2 teams that want to get up and down. They want to defend. They're going to defend really hard. I think it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be an energetic game. And I'm just hoping that we come out on top. This is the 3rd straight year that these seniors have made it to the district final. And we're really hoping to get that first one in school history.
Yeah, you said it, 3rd straight crack at it. So experience at this stage is not going to be an issue. How much do you think you're going to lean on these guys that have been there and done that at this stage in a championship game and kind of know what that feels like to be under the big lights?
I tell our guys all the time, it's not even just about the basketball. You've seen the success they've had in football. They've been in state championship games. They've won state championship games in football. They were in a state semifinal this year. They have a ton of success in baseball, a ton of success in track. They're in big games in every sport. And basketball is no different right now. We're having a ton of success. Like I said, 3 straight. And these are guys that have played a lot of minutes for us over the last 3 years. And from a coaching standpoint too, I've been very fortunate that I've been around great teams and great coaches where I've been in high school basketball for 8 years at the varsity level. And 6 times we've made it to a district round. And this is the 5th time that we've gotten to a district final. So I think, it's not new territory for us, for players and for coaches. And our guys have done a great job preparing the whole tournament run here, taking it every step of the way, really locking in practice, focusing on scouting reports, player personnel and things like that. And, I think that they've done a lot of great things and put themselves in a position where, they could come out on top on Saturday.
I mean, I know it's not a big deal for these guys because they're seemingly in district championships and everything they play, like you alluded to. But for you, I know you get nervous whether it's a district final game or whether it's a pickup game, or a scrimmage at the beginning of the year. What things are you going to have to do to kind of calm your mind down and sleep tonight before it all comes to fruition tomorrow at 7 p.m.?
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna have too hard of a time sleeping tonight. I'm exhausted right now. I've been kind of going nonstop here. We always tell our guys the season's a marathon, not a sprint. Well, the tournament's a complete opposite. It's a sprint, not a marathon. So as soon as we won the other night, it's been nonstop Norwayne prep since then. We're just kind of finishing it up now, putting our final touches on our scouting report, and getting ready for practice today. But you got to sleep tonight, and you're going to wake up tomorrow. We're waking our guys up tomorrow, getting them into school, do a little bit of film in the morning. That's one thing that I don't think we did particularly well this season was we didn't perform well on days that we didn't have school. So coming down the stretch to when the tournament was starting, we started getting these guys up, getting them in the gym, making them just move for about an hour, kind of get their day going. So that when they did come in, they were in a little bit of a routine, and they're going to be ready to go, I think. And, I say it all the time, they're warriors. They want to come out, they want to compete. And I know they're going to do that tomorrow, and they're going to have their best foot forward.
You have a couple of teachers on that bench. Maybe you should take them through just a faux class. That way they feel like they're in school.
I mean, the principal too pretty well, right? Tell him to pull a few strings for you.
Yeah, maybe get them in there, get them in like detention or something there.
Coach, in all
I
seriousness,
could probably use it.
Coach, in all seriousness, I want to talk about your staff. It's steadily grown over the season. You've been able to add a couple of people. TJ Irons has been on the bench for the last couple of weeks for you. What's it been like to have this staff of just excellent coaches? I see how hard this whole staff works for the excellence of this team. You've added to it from last year, and it's even, I think, a stronger staff than last year. So talk about what that has meant throughout the season.
I've been blessed with great coaches around me, my entire coaching career, and it's no different as a head coach. We got Adam Wary and Drew Clark, who are two really young guys who do a great job with our younger players, our freshmen, our sophomores. But they do also a great job at the varsity level. They played a ton of games when I was an assistant at Springfield. They played a ton of games for us, big games, district finals, regional finals. So they know what our preparation is like, and, they've been a great job. Coach Geezy's in the building, so he's there every day. He's there to get practice started. And then we bring in Coach Irons. He's been with our program. He's at 7th and 8th grade level. Just kind of asked him to come on over when their season was over, to add another voice that the kids know, the kids recognize he cares a ton about them. He was their head coach for 3/4 of a season, took them to a district final. So just adding him in it. And then we have a couple other guys, behind the scenes that are helping out as well, that their support and their help is just instrumental. Our guys see that and they understand. I had some coaches, Coach Hannon and Coach French, helping me out with some film work here. Like you said, Norwayne, we just found out 2 days ago that's what we're playing. And, you got to get in. You're trying to break down 10, 15 films in a matter of 2 days. So the more eyes and ears you can get on it and more ideas, it's just been, I've had so much help, and, these guys care about this program and they want to see this team succeed.
All right. I know that your staff has a great chemistry. Your team, obviously, with great chemistry. For you, you're like the mad scientist with this. You kind of concocted all of this. What makes up great chemistry of a team, of a program? And how did you guys do it in a short window? I mean, really just 2 years since you've been there, you've been able to build this chemistry within this program.
Yeah. I think that was something that coming in last year, I use the analogy last year, we were kind of like patching the ship, right? There was holes in the ship's sinking. We were patching it. We had a great team. And to be able to get to a district final was fantastic. Then this year we're talking about righting the ship. Steering in the right direction. We're getting our younger guys are starting to come through our program. Our sophomores are in the second year, the juniors are in the second year, seniors second year. They've seen the same faces, the same terminology, the same guys. We expect the same things. And I think one big thing that really switched is, it takes a little while for them to gain trust in us, and vice versa. I think the Mohawk game was a huge step in that trust for us. I'm not an extremely vocal coach on the sideline. I don't get on the officials too much. Got a little overly excited in that game. It got technical. And I think that was the moment that kind of clicked with our kids. Like, okay, he has our back and we're going to have his. And, I think the relationships have even strengthened since that point. And that was a big point in our season where, okay, like, you can kind of see when it clicks. And I just think that was that moment.
Yeah, you needed that one spark to light him up, right? That technical foul, you need that one, right? Coach, what I want to ask you, one and only. You talked about patching the ship, righting the ship. Now, do you feel like it's a little bit like burn the ships? Like, hey, this is it. This is district championships. We're either winning or we're not going home.
No, I think you're running into. There's great opponents that we're running into here. And you got to play your best basketball every night. And, our guys, they understand they have a great opportunity ahead of them. And we're just going to keep pushing forward. If you win or lose, you got to look back at the season. It was a highly successful season for us. We, like I said, third straight district championship. I believe this is only the third time in school history they've reached 20 wins on the boys' side. So these guys they've won a ton of games in South Range uniforms. They've had phenomenal careers. I would just love to add one extra district title, to their resume.
Oh, that'd be incredible. I mean, obviously there's a team that plays right before you that would like to see, the entire league would love to see you guys match up yet again for that rubber match because the heartbreaker on both sides this year. And obviously it stems into football season too. I mean, is it a situation where NE8 typically in the postseason they root for each other? What do you do? I know you're probably getting there a little soon, sooner than your game, obviously. So are you watching them? Are you trying to keep an eye on them, or how do you keep focus on your guys and the task at hand when Poland's on the floor before you?
Yeah, I'm going to be there before the game, or before their game, and I got to pay attention to that and hope that we're playing the winner of that game on Wednesday. Just prepare for that kind of thing. Our guys are going to be locked in. The league's been great help. Like I said, Coach Hannon, he got a little excited when he beat us last time. I blame you for that one, DJ. But
it's my fault. Always gassed him up.
He's helped us and he's supporting me throughout this tournament run. And if Poland plays the next round, if they get to play Norway instead of us, I'm going to help Coach Fender out, and vice versa. If we get to play Lutheran East instead of Poland, I'm hoping he's going to help me out. A lot of people talk down about the league this year. I didn't think the league was very good. And then, you got two teams playing in back-to-back district finals on Saturday. So I think the league's not as bad as what people talked about. We still got some really great teams in it.
If you win that district tomorrow night, what's the first thing that's you think's going to come through your mind?
I think I'm just going to be thrilled for the kids, all the hard work that they put in. Honestly, it's about them. Like you said, getting the first one in school history. That's something that those guys are going to etch their names into the school history forever. That's the first team to finally get over the hump. And like I said, it just adds something else to them where they've already had great careers and a ton of success in those uniforms and in those hallways. Adding that to it would just be the cherry on top.
Coach, my final question for you is, you're going to have one more practice tonight and one more time to kind of be with you guys in the gym and hopefully earn a couple more practices when you win on Saturday. Notice I said win because I have all the faith in you guys. What's the final message going to be tonight after practice before you wake up in the morning and get ready for the district championship?
Yeah, I think the final message is going to come down to, like I said, the end of the NE8 schedule. I think we put a little bit too much pressure on them. At the end of the day, it's just a game, and we got to get them, prepared for that and ready that they're gonna do it to the best that they can play. Continue to play our style and do the things that we want them to do. And if we do that, I think we could have a really good chance coming out on top.
My final question is, what's the fit going to be? I know you threw one of the outfits away from this year because it wasn't going so hot for you.
That burgundy pullover had a bad season for us. It had a bad season.
You're gone pullover. What are we going with? We going with the white shirt, the white polo, like you're used to?
The white polo and the black pants. It's been working consistently for us. I don't want to change up any mojo right now, and that's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna find a white polo and black pants, and I'm going to emulate it from way above.
I got one. I got an extra one for you. I'll get you one.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah.
I don't think I could pull off the hair though. I think that I might have to go to a costume
wig
store or something and get a wig for the Pat Carden hair. That's a good. That's a good looking hairdo right there.
I got it.
Way better than
obviously,
this.
you know what my dad's hair looks like, so I said I got to keep it while I have it. Cherish it because I know what my future holds.
Your dad's got the best do in the business, buddy. The best do there is. Pat, we can't thank you enough for always stopping by, brother. We're so excited for you tomorrow. Best of luck against Norwayne, and we'll see you there.
All right, thank you, guys. There
he goes, Pat Carden. Love that guy. And if you're out there and you're a coach and you're watching, it's because he's a friend of ours, of the programs, of mine. Don't bring the smoke to me, okay? We're just trying to be friendly here. We be friendly with everyone. We're friends on this show.
Watch all of our coaches' interviews. We get excited when they come on and they give us their time, and we build relationships with a lot of these coaches. So
arrows, and then PC's gonna put it on me. He's gonna put those losses on me. I love it. No, thank you to Coach Carden for taking time out. I know he's really busy during the day and obviously busy trying to win the school's ever first district championship for South Range basketball. Man, how cool would that be?
It would be a win for everyone that's come before him because they've had so much talent come through this basketball program. So many times they've gotten to this round and they've just run into teams that kind of got the better of them for one reason or another. I mean, whether it be Springfield back in the early 2000s, Springfield in the early 2010s. I think Crestview got them a couple of times. Kansas Central Catholic was there for a couple of times when we were covering them in the late stages of the 2010s.
Yeah.
Just they've gotten here a lot of times and they've had a lot of talented teams. So I feel like a win on Saturday would just be one of those ones for every player that's come before them that has been extremely talented, that's gotten to this step and haven't been able to break through that ceiling. You kind of feel like you're winning it for the whole South Range alumni, really.
The program. This is a program championship. And I think we've talked about it before and we'll probably get into it a little bit, today. The difference between a district and a sectional championship to me is massive. It's massive. And sectional championships, that when your program is young, when you're just looking to kind of cut your teeth and get something to push the program forward, that's what a sectional championship is. A district championship is a banner on the wall. Mm-hmm. Like that, you hang that banner with pride. A district championship, regional championship, and of course a state championship. Right. But district championship is the mark to me of a successful season.
And it feels that way, especially in the old days, because district meant all local. It meant if you won the district, you kind of could reign that banner as you were kind of the local champion of that division. Now it's not exactly local. These super districts kind of have a bigger Northeast region to it. So not necessarily you're the local champions, but now if you win a district, that's hey, for the Northeast Ohio district, we are the ones that get through. And Sweet 16, that you are the final 16 teams in the state of Ohio in your division. That's something to be proud of.
I agree with you in the sense that I feel like the district championship now is what the regional championship used to be.
Yep.
Would you concur with that?
Yeah, because a lot of these teams that you're playing in district championships, you would not have seen until regionals, up until when they expanded it during the COVID years. Before that, Norwayne and South Range would not play each other until the regional round. They wouldn't be in the same district. It would probably end up being South Range versus Poland, really, for a district championship back in the day. That's why I'm saying back in the times it was always Springfield or Crestview that would line up in our district. Sometimes you get one of those teams that is a little bit outside of the region, but it would be few and far between. Not like now where you're playing Crestwood, and then Norway, and those are two teams back to back that are just not in your necessarily local area. They're more in your region. So yeah, absolutely. Now that they've expanded the super districts, like they like to call them, it's much more of a regional tournament in districts.
Is the jury still out on the super districts, or have you come to a conclusion whether you like it or not?
There's pros and cons. There's things I like about it. There's things I don't like about it. I mean, I like the fact that, you have more kind of choices to go to. You're not kind of stuck into one bracket and it's just like, hey, this is what you get. But I'm an old soul when I miss the fact that you could go to one place and sit there and watch, 4 or 5 basketball games, and you'd watch like the whole district tournament in one place. I have so many memories of going like to Middle Ridge, going to Salem for the boys when we would sit there from like 11 o'clock to 6 and just watch, 4 or 5 district semifinal games. And then, you just get your fill of basketball. You pay one price for the whole day. And now it's kind of turned into this thing where you have to clear the gym and pay again. And like we said, the OHSA likes its money.
No. I agree with that. I think that when I first started to enjoy high school basketball, I remember I was in 7th grade and East Palestine had a very good team, and that's what got me into basketball. And then going to Salem and going to, I can't even remember, I want to say it was Canton at that time where East Palestine flamed out. But dude, I just remember falling in love with the game because you could see kids from different districts all with one ticket and be excited about it. Are you paying attention to every? No, but if you saw a gamer, like back in the day when I was a senior, LeBron James playing Lisbon was a big deal, right? It's just as big a deal when you've got Rootstown coming in and you can't necessarily get over that hump, but when you do, it's the year you do, man, it's electric. And I miss those days. I feel very fortunate that our mission, and not to make it about us, our mission is to bring those opportunities that you can watch it from wherever you are. So there is some great things, and naturally, the sponsors that do this, we're not really making money on this YSN. It's really. The money we get from the sponsors goes directly to the OHSAA, and we're basically just getting the covered cost of our announcer, getting there and getting them paid for. So, it's frustrating. The jury's still out for me because it's been what, 3 years? Is this 3 years?
I think 21, 22, 23, 24. So I think 4. I think
4 years. Okay. So this is the 4th year of it. I'm leaning more towards frustration than I am. I really like this. And I'm just trying to be transparent.
This is the first year where they've had host sites, like the higher seed hosts, all the way until the district championship. And now you have 3 district championships in one spot. So it feels a little bit more like you used to.
I like that.
You can go to one space and watch 3 district championships in one spot. So that's kind of fun. And I like
the hosting. I think the more games that you can have at these high schools, the atmospheres of the higher seeds, the better it's going to be. Because to me, if they really want to work with Max Preps and they really want to ignite this partnership, the OHSAA, they've got to have something in it for the high schools, right? To be giving them information. Because otherwise, as you and I both know, if the high schools or the coaches or the program isn't getting anything out of it, they're not going to do it. They're not going to participate. It's just going to be a DNP. Yeah. So, to kind of stoke that flame and to say, hey, if you do this, you have a better chance of potentially hosting throughout, or a better seed in the tournament, so to speak, because there's more information about your team. Coaches can make a better selection, all that stuff, move that forward. Like, it is what it is. I think it's a great opportunity, but I think people are still us included, are very skeptical about Max Preps. Yeah, because you can hide things.
And maybe it exists somewhere and I haven't found it, but I still haven't found like a page that tells you this is exactly our algorithm and this is how we figure it out. Like, I want transparency a little bit so I know where these numbers are really coming from. Because sometimes I look at the rankings and I go, Like where did you what's going into that number? What's going into that math? With our power rankings for the fall, we know exactly what goes into our algorithm, right? So we know what numbers are going into it. I look at the Max Preps ones and I just go, well, okay, well, what are you kind of using to get those numbers?
Well, and I think you know as well as I do from a business perspective and from a general perspective, when you put those algorithms out, somebody's also going to bring, well, why don't you consider this? Why don't you consider this? I mean, it's just you're holding up a flag and you're going to have 10,000 knives going into it and poking holes in it. You know,
but I feel like if you don't put the flag up, the knives go straight to you.
Well,
right? At least
you're right. But at least when you don't, I guess the Max Preps,
the knives are coming either way, you know.
The Max Preps way, if you're going to use that analogy, at least they can see where the knives are coming from without a flag in their face. You know, like it's one of those things.
Touche.
Where you know we're blind as a bat.
Mhm.
Like it's coming. Here's our work, Professor. Yeah, it stinks. Which is why, I mean, we got hammered for like rankings this year. Like people wanted rankings, and we just kind of hold on. Like, let's see what happens without rankings this year, and then if we want to go back to it, we can.
Now that like they are using Max Preps, it's like the ratings are right there. So it's like if we put them out, it'd be like, well, they're probably not going to be that much different than Max Preps. That's why it made sense for the fall, especially for volleyball, because they're still not using Max Preps. So it was kind of like a engagement to kind of, you know, gauge where our teams were sitting among each other. But with basketball, it's all right there for you with Max Preps. So it's like, is it really worth the knives being thrown, you know?
Well, that's why baseball and softball is going to be interesting, because we still have to make a decision on, are we doing it for baseball and softball? Because I tried to get Fur to do a power rankings for wrestling, and apparently they have something similar.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's kind of ranked. You know where you're at.
So it's just like spitting in the wind.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things. Like you're only doing it if you want to be controversial, right? And that's not the goal.
Wrestling would be because you'd be ranking actual wrestlers instead of like you could rank teams, I guess, but wrestling ranks the wrestlers, like the individuals.
Correct.
So we would have, you know, power rankings as far as the individual wrestlers. Then maybe we could do a team power rankings too. But like you said, it's already kind of being done. Same thing with basketball. The one thing I do think that I feel like with this tournament, there needs to be a little bit of flexibility to pivot when two local teams are going to be traveling a long way away to play each other. Like you should be able to be like, Struthers, you're not hosting a game in this tournament. You think you want to host this district championship? And then, you know, the field house is a perfect place to host. I don't know the logistics of all that, but it just seems silly to send Canfield and West Branch to North Ridgeville.
I get it. I do. I understand that. And I don't disagree. I think that it's, and we've seen that before, have we not? I want to say
sometimes it gets moved, sometimes it doesn't, which is kind of head scratching.
Was it football? Softball? Something happened where it's like, no, we're not going there. We're playing here.
Well, softball, I remember there were two teams that played at YSU instead. They were supposed to go.
That's what
somewhere.
It was. That's what it was. Yeah, you're exactly right. Because there was.
It was South Range Ursuline. It was South Range Ursuline. And, you know, South Range was a little bit peeved because it was obviously Ursuline's home field, but it was a lot closer to both teams. So it was either, do you want to travel up to Massillon and play each other, or play at YSU?
But correct me if I'm wrong here, and I really don't think I am. I think this is an interesting factor, is when you're going into these regions, districts, you get to choose your path. So you know where you're going to end up.
Hit and miss. Sometimes you do. Some, like if you're a lower seed, you're just kind of stuck where you're stuck.
Okay,
but the higher
seeds, yeah. So I mean, and so I listen again. I am very, I understand where these coaches, these programs, these communities are coming from. I get it, and I'm not 100% on board. I'm not even 50% on board with super districts. But when you go into, you know, a bracket. And you see where the end goal is. It's okay. Are you going into a bracket because you want a easier or less challenging or less competitive way to get to a district championship, or Are you going there because it's less travel time if you get there or when you get there?
Right.
Do you have to make that decision? I think you do.
And I think, just using Canfield as an example, because there's other teams that obviously have to travel as well.
JFK.
I think it's one of those things, like if it plays out in the way that it did where two local teams make it, then you can be like, well, it makes sense to move it, But if Canfield was playing, for example, West Branch be West Geauga, that trip, makes a little bit more sense. You're both kind of traveling to North Ridgeville. It's not like they're close to each other. It's not like they could both play somewhere a lot closer in a neutral site. That would make a little bit more sense. But since it's West Branch Canfield, then it's like, well, common sense would tell you, and probably more fans are probably more upset about this than the coaches and the players. They're like, we'll play anywhere. We don't care. Let's just go. But it would just, I feel like it would just make a lot more common sense if you could pivot if two local teams make it to the championship.
Here, again, district, higher seed, that's where you're going.
Right.
To me, it solves everything.
Yep.
Everything right there.
This idea that a championship has to be in a neutral site.
Nope.
I don't know.
Because the semis aren't.
Right. So, is there a huge difference between semi and championship? Are we putting that big of a weight on?
I would much rather than put a bigger weight on the seedings and the bracket. That's where I would much rather them solve the problems, because then, okay, if you're a 1 seed, you're not going to a 14 seed. It's just not going to happen. And guess what? There's a weight during the season.
Mm-hmm.
There's a weight that carries into the playoffs of, okay, the last 15 games, because there are, don't get me wrong, I love basketball because anybody can play anybody during the year.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of those later games are either fill-in games or what the good programs or the better programs are sitting there going, hey, we don't want to be playing these conference games the very end of the year because it can pose a big problem for us going into the tournament.
And then remember, it's all about timing too, because those rankings get completed before the end of the season.
Yep.
So remember, we were talking to Coach Bornemus and Coach Fishel about how that seeding went down because of the timing of when both teams played. I think Lakeview was the one that gave them the most points in the conference. They both beat Lakeview late, but because South Range played Lakeview before that deadline and Girard played them after that deadline, South Range got the points, Girard didn't. So that those last 2 weeks of the season, I don't want to say are pointless, but towards seeding, they're kind of pointless.
They are. And there's a lot that needs fixed. We can all admit that, right? And we're not here to bust down necessarily the playoff system of the OHSAA, but
there's a lot that's good, but there's still stuff that needs fixed. Yeah.
I feel like it always gets pushed to the side, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's okay. Well, I explained it. It's been explained many times. The OHSAA throws a hell of a birthday party, right? That's all they're accountable for.
Yeah.
Because essentially they don't care what happens during the regular season. And if you've got citations, please correct me, because I would love to be wrong, because I feel like they just don't care until it gets to this point in the year. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden it's our way or the highway.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that's wrong. I think they should be a commissioner role in this. And I understand that leagues have their own conferences, have their own commissioners and ways to do it. But I got to be honest, like none of those are uniform. You and I have seen that 100%, through what we do. Commissioners are not uniform in how they rule. Mm-hmm. I think there needs to be a governing body, and that's what the OHSAA is, that steps in and says, okay, this is the way we're going to do things. Other than this is the way we're going to do things as long as we're profiting from it. Mm-hmm. Like there has to be this is straight across the board. This is the way we're going to do it, so it's better for everyone, or at least the vast majority, because that's what a governing body is supposed to do. Take that how you want, but it's one of those situations. It's just, well, this is only good because it's good for us. That doesn't work for me.
Right. And it's amazing how much high school kind of looks like the NCAA, because the NCAA has that same problem where they have all these conferences that can really do whatever they want because they're their own governing body, and the NCAA really doesn't have too much power over each individual conferences on what they want to do. And it seems like the NCAA doesn't have much of this saying anything until the tournament comes along. Then it's their party, you know.
Well, and you know, they can ban who they want, and they
Right.
can and people are going to sit there and be like, well, the OHSA hires the umpires or hires the officials, and it's going to be
Not really. I
listen.
mean, they kind of do, but not like it's they what's the word I'm looking for? They delegate it to the districts boards and so it's like they kind of do, but there's no hub. There's no one.
No, they're
central
just
hub
there
the
to hand
OHSA
out.
is. Yeah.
They get the microphone at the end, and I
Mhm.
mean, I can almost recite the entire thing that they do. They do the "We Are the Champions." I mean, I'm thinking softball in my head right now, but the more I see it, it's every single thing they do. We are the champions, and then the commissioner comes out and talks about the community, like a one-liner about the community, and talks about the 774 teams or 818 teams, whatever it is, that are in the OHSAA and competing for a championship, and they're the best of the best. And then they hand them a trophy, and they go back and they make sure that the debts are paid. You know, that's it. Because the thing that most people forget this time, and again, I'm not trying to stir things up. The OHSAA went from not having memberships to having memberships a few years ago.
Mhm.
And every school that competes in a sport has to give X amount of dollars to compete in that sport in the OHSAA capacity. So you multiply that times the 818 or whatever that number is that the OHSAA talks about, and you start wondering, where is that money going and how is it contributing to the betterment of student athletes?
Yep.
And then you add on top of that the fees that they charge for streaming and broadcasting. You add on top of that the potential sponsorships that they already have with chocolate milk and some of these other game changer, along the line. And you see a number like $20 million and you go, well, wait a minute. This could have been a hell of a better party, than it
And
was.
Are
And then
are
the
they
ticket
paying?
prices.
Are they paying Spectrum, or is Spectrum paying them for the rights to their state
Are you
champions?
kidding me, Anthony?
Which way is that going? I don't like.
Were you teeing me up? Are you gassing me up for this one?
I'll let you figure it out.
Yeah, go ahead and noodle on that one for a minute and see if Spectrum's paying the OHSA or it's the other way around. Come on.
Come on.
And we found out firsthand that the rules are made to be broken and meant to be bent. Buddy, that's still a day I will never forget. Anyway. Yeah. So that's frustrating. And I can see, and this all started like the distance of travel, but I think what we're starting to see is the frustration spilling over, and it's like, okay, well, how can we still profit? How can we gain revenue? How can we do this for MVP, minimum viable production, or performance? I don't forget what it was. It was how do we get the most money for the least amount of effort that's what everything's based around. And it's frustrating. It's incredibly frustrating. And I'm not even saying from our standpoint, I can't imagine being a district supervisor or whatever they are, a site manager, I think is what their official title is. And they're like, hey, guess what? We're going to change it up. Wait, what?
Yeah, that's the other side of that argument. Like North Ridgeville,
because,
to call them and be like, well, you're not getting that third game that you're going to get on Saturday because we're going to move it. Like, well, we already have all these people lined up and we already have food gear and like, well, sorry about your luck. That's
and
the
I'm
other
not
side
gonna lie,
of that coin.
It is the other side of the argument, but it's not a string that the OHSA hasn't pulled before.
Right. That's what's frustrating.
They're cold. They're just absolutely cold when it comes to that stuff and not calculated. Like if you're cold and calculated, at least you can sit there and go, okay, 1 + 1 = 2. No. 1 + 1 = 8 on this one? No, I don't.
Question mark?
That's how it goes. Maybe in my math, not great, but it's still, I had that little, do you have that little checkerboard thing growing up? You press the button and it's like 1 times 1 is 1.
Yep.
That's how you learn your tables, right?
Yep.
my table wasn't adding up when it comes to the OHSAA. Might as well smash that thing. The bad kid in class always figured it out. You can pull those little plastic pieces off, and then it's just paper underneath, and you can plug them in different ways. That made for some messed up math for some of the kids in East Palestine High.
Wait a minute.
Can you imagine if that was a high school, East Palestine Elementary School? I mean to say.
3 times 3 equals 6? Wait.
3 times 3 equals 108? Huh?
Huh?
All right, teacher.
All right. This is what the board. This is what your device says. I don't know what to tell you.
I was using that in high school for sure. There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Yeah, I don't get it, man. I feel for JFK. Was it JFK Bristol?
Yeah, they have to go to
The other side of the state.
yeah.
We'll be there. Dom O'Brien will be there for us. So if you're not looking to make that journey, that trek, and it's all being brought to you thanks to our friends in the Ryan family. So he said this is. I'm not going to say what he said because I'm not going to directly quote him. I can tell you it's a little bit ridiculous. But that's why, again, not that we're the saving grace, but, it's not going to be exactly 55 degrees and sunny this weekend, as I understand, thanks to our friends at Storm Tracker 21.
Yeah.
So people are going to be making this journey or not, and having to choose between watching their, grandson or, whatever, however you're related, whatever you like, JFK or Bristol. And now you can watch it from wherever you are. Mm-hmm. And not only that one, we're going to have the Pullen game, thanks to the Pullen All Sports Boosters. We're going to have the South Range game, thanks to our friends at Vantage Financial. What other game? We have another game, right?
The Louisville game at North Ridgeville. And we just got a message that Canfield will be sponsored as well. So they'll be in North Ridgeville. Ty Bartel will be there. Rob Johnson will be there for the Louisville game. Is that it? Let me look at the spreadsheet.
It feels like it. It feels like that's
more.
it. Is that 5? 5 games? That's not bad.
We also have Grand Valley and Dalton.
In Salem.
Dalton at Salem. Eric Hughes will be there for that one. For
so there we go.
Salem. So 6.
So we got 6 games tomorrow, which is huge. Tonight, Little Lean. Do we even have a college game? I don't think so.
No, YSU is at UTSA, so we won't have that. Westminster.
I don't see it.
I don't see it. So I think there's that
the rare night off.
The calm before the storm,
Dude, my day tomorrow, and not to lean on you a little bit. Z-Man's got 2 basketball games and then baseball tryouts, and then I'm trotting my happy ass to Cleveland.
Whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah. Mrs. Yoakley is none happy, but hey, this is what we do, right?
I mean,
I get one Friday night off, and then I pay for it on Saturday.
How about we're heading up to Massillon last night, and game starts at 6, and when we leave, we're scheduled to get there like 5. We're like, okay, we're good. We're going to be there an hour early. There's construction like on the exit that takes you to Canton, so they switch around the names of exits. Like you're supposed to get on exit. Just I don't know exactly what it is, but just for reference, so like 37A, and because the construction, it's actually now 37C, and we've changed the names of exits during construction. So the GPS didn't know that, so we still took 37A, which was a completely different exit this time around. So we took the wrong exit, had to reroute our trip. We didn't get there until like 5:30, and I was sweating a little bit. I was like, I cannot be late for this game. It's sponsored, but we got there. A little bit stressful, a little bit sweating, but we got
Diversity. There. You battled through it, buddy.
I know.
You got to fight through it.
Maslin, Perry, we've been there several times over the years. Mr. Fox down there, always extremely accommodating. Got to give them a shout out. It's great. It's a great place to call games.
I can't wait. I've never been to Cleveland Heights. I'll be there tomorrow doing the Poland and the South Range game. I'm amped up, man. To see these 2 communities, front and center on the network. I'm excited. I know they're excited, as they should be, because goodness gracious, Lutheran East is good, but Poland, they got that magical touch this year that has been electric. Can't wait to see Carmine Tucolo and the gang
Carmine,
try
yeah.
to kind of lift that up one more time. That would be amazing.
Yeah, you're
I'm
going to the
excited.
home of the Kelsey brothers.
Oh, I
Nice.
didn't even think about that.
Yep, they have their jerseys in the hallway.
I'll be taking pictures of that for sure. Maybe I'll hang a YSN jersey. Excuse me here. I'll dress up like a maintenance worker. Nothing to see here, folks. I'm excited, and you should be too. Great Friday. Nothing really happening on the network. A lot of catch up on content, I'm sure. And
Yeah,
then
but we're
certainly tomorrow,
going
man.
to be talking about our All-Star game too tonight. So
Yes,
we'll have more information about that coming up soon. Stay tuned.
March 22nd, for those of you asking, by the way, the All-Star game, which will feature, yes, it will feature both boys and girls All-Star games. It will feature the slam dunk contest. It will feature both boys and girls three-point contest, and the 3-2-1 will be back this year as well. If you have interest in being part of that, you are a player, message us today. We're taking applications. We might have a little bit of a free agent, so to speak, that we can bring in for these contests, because that's the excitement of it. I think these are some of the most exciting games you're going to see in this region, maybe even the state, when it comes down to it. And especially if you're a dunker out there, if you think you can step up against one of the most high-flying acrobatic dunkers in the entire country in high school, in Nick Ryan, he wants to hear from you. So let's start picking those tickets off, and let's form a single file line, folks. info@ysnlive.com is the email, and of course you can reach out on social media as well. Anthony would be happy to hear from you. So
Absolutely.
Ant, you ready to hit the spark?
Let's do it.
All right, buddy. Here is the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical, and you can visit them on the web 24/7, 365 at DickeyElectric.com. All right, Palzo, what's your spark today?
I'm going to use my spark today to give a shout out to Jenna Ricardo in her senior season at West Liberty. Just putting out a great career, and they put out her career numbers for their senior spotlight on social media today. 96 games played in her career at West Liberty so far, 792 points, 453 rebounds, a career field goal percentage of 52.3%. That is excellent from the field. 9 double-doubles in her career, and she also this season having a career best in both points and rebounds per game, averaging 13.04 points per game and 7.15 rebounds per game, almost averaging a double-double. So we're not too shocked. We covered Jen Ricardo for quite some time at Beaver Local, and she's having a great career, wrapping up a great career at West Liberty.
Without a doubt, one of the greatest female athletes to ever grace the network here on YSN. So congratulations, Jenna Ricardo. We're proud of you. My spark is going to be an interesting one, because some news breaking over this past week that some of the programs are going to be on the chopping block at the next level. The I don't even know what colleges, universities are going to be on the chopping block that have already done recruiting for high school students. And interesting to me, I feel like if you're on the chopping block, I understand that you've got a goal you have to hit in the recruitment process and all that. But if you're pretty sure that you're not going to be around, I think it's a disservice to the student athlete that you're recruiting them and taking opportunities for them to actually go to somewhere where they are going to be recruited and play at the next level. So parents, what I can tell you is, student athletes, what I can tell you is, ask those tough questions. If you're at a recruitment visit, an official visit, unofficial visit, ask the tough questions like, hey, are you going to be around this year? Are you going to be around next year? Because after it's all said and done, I get how exciting the process is. It's one that you've waited for so long, and you're just so excited to make that graphic and say, I'm committed somewhere. I'm telling you, that graphic isn't worth the pain that you're going to feel for just committing to something for 4 years. If you're in that situation right now, you need to start asking questions, and you need to start re-recruiting yourself elsewhere, and going somewhere where you feel you're comfortable, that your education obviously comes first, but certainly the place that's going to be there, because I think that's the biggest thing, Anthony, right now is there's some places out there that are taking YSN athletes, and I'm not sure that they're going to be there. I'm not sure that they're not. I'm not sure that they are. And the more that I hear about it, the worse the news becomes, and that's frustrating.
Well, I mean, Cleveland State will not have a softball team next year, which means Katie McDonald will be going into her junior season looking for a new home. So I can confirm that one for sure. They announced before. It's really awkward. Before this season started, they announced, hey, we're going to cut softball next year. So they know this season that it's their last season.
Yep.
And
there's more of that to come, folks. I mean, there's more of that to come. You know why, and you understand it if you're listening to the world at all. But college is expensive, and there's a lot of hands and palms to the sky. Like, I don't understand it. But
Cleveland State doesn't have football, so
yeah,
I mean, that revenue buzz.
Make sure your school is going to be there before you commit. Otherwise, you're in for a real tough awakening whenever they're not there and you are. So that is our show. That is YSN Live for this Friday. We hope you had a great week. We did, thanks to you showing up each and every day here on YSN. And certainly we're looking forward to next week. We got a lot to talk about, some district championships potentially, Anthony. And certainly we're excited to shine a light on coaches, players, and communities right here on.
Before we go, I do want to make sure to give a shout out also and a good luck to East Liverpool Bowling competing in the state championships over the weekend. And I know they have a really good chance of having maybe a state championship bowler. So go get it.
State champs. Hey, let's go. And if you're out there and you are a state champion bowler and you want to be on the show, hit us up or we'll come find you. How about that? Talking to you, brother. All right. That's going to do it for the show. For Anthony, I'm DJ. We'll see you on the next episode of YSN Live Monday at noon with some district championships. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.